Welcome to the OT Sports Show. Let me get this off my thing real quick. Welcome to the OT Sports Show. We're here live.
What's
This
up?
is not
What's
a drill.
up?
This is not a drill. This is one more time. It's the OT Sports Show. Again, my name is Omar Pickett. We're here live with Trent McDougal, and we've got a special guest on today. I'm really excited because we're really about to get into some really deep topics. And he came in and said he wanted to be a part. My man, Rodney Goodwin. Right now, we're going to go ahead and allow Trenton to introduce our special guest, and we're going to go ahead and get started.
What's up, everybody? We've been talking. There's been some great discussion down through this week about the topics that we wanted to talk about today. You remember last week, if y'all remember, we kind of was going a little longer than we wanted to, and we ended up deciding to do the WNBA topic of WNBA pay. To be our first topic because we know it's been on everybody's mind. It's something very, it's in the media right now and it's very strong being talked about, especially with the issue with Brittany Griner and her arrest in Russia and just all the tension and the nervousness going on right now. My prayers and thoughts are with her right now as she deals with that situation. But we brought in my good friend Rodney Godwin to talk about the issue of the WNBA pay. Everybody has their opinion, and I've heard so many times, and I'm gonna be honest with y'all, I've thought some thoughts too about well, the product is not the same, so why are they talking about being paid more? That's all these things. There's viewership and all. There's a lot of things that can be discussed, but I like the unique point of view that Rodney provided, and it really made me think about some things. And we've decided to give him an opportunity to express himself and to share with you all. Go ahead, Rodney.
Thank you, Omar. Thank you, Trent, for allowing me to be the first guest. Right, I'm the first guest.
Yes, sir.
Very first.
Yes, sir.
Very first.
I'm honored to be here, and thank you for sharing the topic with me. In preparation for this episode, and allow me to share my thoughts. It was a great conversation I had with Trent and Omar. In the past 7 days, I forgot when it was we talked. I think it was like Saturday or whatever.
Yeah.
But I don't have any titles, but I like to title myself as an advocate for open and fair discussion. Looking at a topic from multiple viewpoints, not just looking for the simple answer, right? And I'm a male, right? Mm-hmm. And I've heard this topic come up multiple times. WNBA players wanting to be paid the same as NBA players. And, the simple response to that could be, okay, yes, the product is different, right? They're not slam dunking. They're not shooting like Steph Curry, or they're not performing like, insert name of some superstar male athlete, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. But, the Bible tells us, Proverbs tells us, a king searches out a matter, right? Mm-hmm. And my goal as a man is, and for any man, is to inspire any man to be a king, right? Mm-hmm. In any role, and to search out and really look at the situation, right, from multiple viewpoints, and not just settle on the surface level analysis, Mm-hmm. And just looking at the WNBA situation, my first question to Trent when we had this discussion is, are they a part of the NBA, or are they their own separate organization, right? Mm-hmm. They're their own separate organization. Mm-hmm. And they're filled with, the league is filled with women, right, who are individuals that perform at a high level in a sport that they love, right? They enjoy what they do. They're passionate about what they're doing. They're gifted and they're talented, right? Mm-hmm. And, when we make the decision about, WNBA versus NBA, we really should just take WNBA for what it is, right? And not look at it in the lens of, is it as good as the NBA? You know, anytime you go into a situation saying you have a preconceived notion, I'm looking to see if this is better than what I had. You know, that's a toxic situation, even in a relationship, right? You know, if you're with you know, woman or a man, you're dating a woman or a man, and something doesn't go right, and you just go into the next relation just saying, are they better than that last person? Right? That is a small mindset, right? That's a small microscopic, you know, what you really want to look at. I'm not giving relationship advice here, but is who is this person and what makes them great, right? What do I like? What kind of characteristics does this person have? So the same, you know, viewpoint we can take when we look at the WNBA. Who are these players, right? Where do they come from? What are their history, right? Each individual, what are they good at, right? Learn about the team. Just enjoy. If you really enjoy the sport of basketball or sports, hey, let's say, just look at the WNBA in that light, as you know, enjoy it for what it is. Okay, another way to look at it is, okay, you want to compare it with the NBA and the development of the NBA, and you know, boil it down to a simple discussion of, you know, they don't sell as many tickets, right? You know, because at the bottom line, it's about that bottom line, that dollar amount, right? Are they generating the same revenue, revenue streams as the NBA, right? You can talk about ticket sales. You can talk about, you know, viewership, right? You can talk about jerseys, right? Different endorsements. Are they generating the same revenue as the NBA? No, obviously not, right? But, you know, you don't want to just boil that down to they're not performing at the same level. Okay, the NBA, the little research that I did do, the NBA had almost a 50-year head start, right, before the WNBA. You know, so they have 50 years to make more mistakes and learn from them mistakes, to grow, to develop, right, to gain a fan base, gain a viewership, right? So, you know, anytime, you know, companies typically have a head start, they're going to be better unless they have some type of innovation. But we're talking about basketball, right? We're talking about basketball. You know, they're not using AI, you know, or machine learning or VR or whatever. It's the sport. And then look at historically how women, right, in this country, and not just in this country, in the world, have been discriminated against, have not been afforded the same opportunity as their male counterparts, right? You know, just looking back to the 40s, the 50s, the 60s, where it was probably an absurd thought in a household for a young girl to tell her parents, hey, I want to be a professional basketball player, right? Just think about how that topic would have went about. You know, I don't believe every parent would have just dashed their dreams, but just think about the society and, you know, the traditional expectations that they had of women in those older times, right? So you have to take that into consideration when you look at the opportunities that this league had to develop. And, you know, where does the WNBA get their athletes, right? They get them from colleges, right? So then you have to analyze historically the opportunities of women basketball teams in college women's basketball teams, right? Because, you know, typically that's where they're coming from, college. Then you have to go down to high school basketball programs. I don't know for sure. I haven't looked at the statistics, but I can bet you probably today there are high schools with a male basketball team and no female basketball team, right? You know, without looking at the data, I can imagine today in 2022, that's the case, right? And now you have to look back 50 years and just imagine, you know, much less of an opportunity, right? So with that knowledge, with that information, not just taking the simple route, understanding that, yeah, they haven't had the same type of time to develop as an organization. I'm not talking about as an athlete, right? But just as an organization as a whole, right? just think about all of the little kids that looked up to be Michael Jordan. I want to be like Michael Jordan. Well, when little kids, thousands, millions of little kids was looking up to be Michael Jordan, and they're in the NBA right now, right? Who was that Michael Jordan for women? I remember hearing about Cheryl Swoops.
Yeah.
But
Lisa Leslie. Lisa Leslie.
But those seem to be a little later than that, that Michael Jordan era. But even you can think preceding Michael Jordan, Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, so on and so forth, right? Bill Russell, all of these legends, kids were looking up to them.
Especially if you consider the people before that, like who do they look up to? They had people to look up to. Now we wouldn't we don't have we wouldn't have any type of foundation for that for women at all.
Exactly.
To look up to.
I have uncles that talk to me, Earl to Pearl. Earl to Pearl, Oh, excuse me, not Earl. What was it? I think
that was one.
Earl to Pearl. Okay. Iceman, George Gervin.
Yeah.
Right. They're telling me about Iceman, George Gervin. They tell me about Oscar Robert. They tell me about Bernard King. But you don't hear these stories about young ladies. I don't have any aunts. I don't know any older women that talk about basketball idols that they looked up to. So with that being said, just to sum it up, okay, what can we do? Right? What can we do? Right? The argument is no one's going to the games. We can go to the games, right? We can go to the games. If that's the argument, right? So the question is, should women be paid more? Should the WNBA players be paid more? Yes, I agree. I agree that they should be paid more. How do you make that happen? If the question is, it's about generating revenue, okay, let's go to the games, men, right? Yeah. If there's a team that's local to us, right? Or you have the means to travel, right? Go. I'm not in that situation right yet. I'm gonna say that. But if you have the means to travel and support a team, hey, let's go. Watch it. It's I think, what is it, 12 teams? Yes. It's 12 teams. They play 36 games. NBA, 82 games, right?
Yeah.
So it's much less of a commitment just to watch, just turn it on. Tune in, right? With the mindset, I'm going to enjoy this, right? Let me see who the point guard is. Let me see who the center is. How many points? Let's look at their stats. Just get excited about it because they are professional. They are gifted. They have, went through college, high school, right? They have honed their craft. So buy a jersey, right? Another way, hey, buy a jersey. It was something else I was going to say, but all right. So who really inspired me? So I've been guilty of having that mindset of, they don't dunk, right? Just reducing to they don't dunk or whatever. But what really changed my mindset perspective is a former pastor named Elder Frank Bellamy, right? His name is Elder Frank Bellamy out of the Goldsboro area. And I remember one day, I think we had a Saturday men's event or something. And he was, after it was over, he was like, hey, I'm about to go. I got to catch the WNBA games. I was like, it's like, it just didn't seem the norm to me, He was like, I got to go. I was like, oh, yeah. And he was like, yeah, I'm watching. So he's like, man, I love to watch the WNBA. That's what I'm really into. And he has 3 sons. He don't have any daughters.
Wow.
Right? So I don't know. I may need to ask him that one day. Hey, what, sparked your passion to watch, what got you interested in the WNBA? But really, that kind of demystified it for me as far as, you can be masculine, you can be a manly man, and you can enjoy a women's sport, right? You can appreciate what they do on the court, So I thank God for him. And I thank God for you guys, giving this opportunity. It sounds like we're in church, but hey.
Everybody want to pay an offering, you cash app it to cash app it to OT Sports Show, and we're gonna send him a love offering. But I'm trying to tell you, I appreciated a lot what you said, especially about really removing our biases when we watch WNBA. It's amazing how we will watch the WNBA and think, are they as good as the NBA? But we don't do that for college basketball.
No, we don't.
We don't watch college basketball and go, are they as good as the WNBA? Because we have removed our biases. But when it comes to the WNBA and a women's sport, and I'm going to say this, I'm not trying to be, it's the OT show, so I'm going to be controversial. It's like if we either try to compare it to the NBA or we're watching it for sex appeal. And if we don't get sex appeal and we don't compare it to the NBA, we want to shut it off. And we don't appreciate the great athletes that they are and the skilled basketball players that they are. Can we just and truly enjoy the basketball for what it is? And if we really did and took those biases off and stopped trying to compare it to a league that has a 50-year advantage, maybe we can realize the skill that these players have. This is the equivalent really of the NBA back in the 1960s. That's where they are from a development perspective. Think of Kobe Bryant taking his daughters to the game. And the more and more you see people taking their kids to the game, telling them they can be WNBA players, you're going to build up that clientele and you're going to get more skilled players that are going to be dunking, that's going to be doing all the other things that you're saying, oh, the women don't do this. You just keep waiting. Just keep watching.
And I can imagine that maybe the pastor probably enjoyed watching the women's basketball because the fact of the matter is that the fundamentals, it's about the fundamentals. It's more so about the fundamentals because it's that young, because it's not about the overly athletic plays and doing all the crazy jumping and moving around. They still call travel as travel. And, and I think about even the great coach John Wooden made a comment like that, you can't really teach the fundamentals by looking at by NBA players, but you can from the WNBA players. I even heard Rick Barry. He was pissed. He didn't make a comment about the WNBA, but just to prove this point about fundamentals, he was talking about just last week, I believe. He was talking about the traveling and just the carrying. He was like, call the game like it's supposed to be called. And it's really, the NBA has really lost that. It's lost a lot of its roots. Because I still remember growing up, like it was at 2 steps and then get the ball out your hand. Or if not, you got called for traveling. It was going the other way. And now it's a gather step, a gather 2-step, a gather 3-step. It's just a whole lot of stuff that that they've created recently. And I'm just thinking, like, come on, y'all. It's almost like they just maybe it's making it for whatever reason. I guess offense points sell tickets, and I think that's what it is about. So they're really just making it where you can you can just go. Anybody can get open, and all they got to do is run. Anybody can get open and just run backwards and then shoot. I mean, that's literally what they're doing. So I mean, hey. But I appreciate you, Rodney. I appreciate your point of view. That's good stuff.
Thank y'all so much. Thank you so much. And I want to share with you kind of, some of the things that I was definitely thinking about when we got into this topic and this discussion. And I'm going to take you guys on a little diatribe. Do y'all mind? I'm going to take y'all on a little trip. I agree very much with what Rodney was saying. I think we need to, we take our biases off when we watch the WNBA, enjoy the game for how it is. But I want to talk to y'all a little bit about wrestling. Many of y'all who used to watch wrestling back in the 90s when it was Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock and Undertaker. Triple H, Undertaker, Shawn Michaels. That was the highlight of wrestling. That was the golden era, the attitude era. Yeah. Nowadays, they have a fraction of the audience they have now. More people attended the shows back then. They were filling out big stadiums then. Less people attend now. But the crazy thing is the WWE makes more money now than it made then. They have less viewers. They get less people going to their shows, but they make more money. And why is that? TV revenue. WWE has a $1 billion contract with NBC. They have a $1 billion contract with Fox. They have another $1 billion contract with Peacock. And so they're bringing in big money, even though less people are watching. And interesting. No, barely anybody in here knows who Elias is. You barely anybody who knows who the Finn Balor is. You don't know who Austin Theory is. It's not Stone Cold. Austin Theory. You don't know who those people are. People don't watch wrestling like that anymore these days. But they make more money then than they did during the highlight, and it's because the TV revenue. And I make that point because I want you guys to know that when it comes to WNBA, we talk about first thing people say when we talk about paying them more is they don't have the money. Where does the money come from? It comes from TV money, and it comes from TV revenue. And the bottom line is, my point that I want to make is that the WNBA is drastically underpaid when it comes to the TV markets. That's the one thing they won't tell you. ESPN will sure enough bring WNBA players to talk about why they feel like they should get paid more money. What they won't tell you is that ESPN is underpaying them. And I want to show you guys how much they're underpaying them. Let me show you guys something real quick. Now, the WNBA, let me see. Let me add this right here. The WNBA has a $25 million annual contract with ESPN. The NHL has a $400 million contract. But if you look at their average TV ratings, it's not that different. The WNBA, 306,000 views. The NHL, 392,000 views. One's getting paid $25 million. One's getting paid $400 million.
Wow.
More than 10 times as much. The only time you really see a huge discrepancy, as you can see, is when you compare the Stanley Cup finals to the WNBA finals. That's when you really see a discrepancy. But that's what, 1 or 2 weeks at max? The rest of the time, the ratings are nearly the same. So looking at this, if it's just about people not watching, why is it that the WNBA contract isn't at least half of what the NHL is making? Knowing good and well the ratings are that close. So I think there's a bias in how these people are getting their TV contracts. And I think that's very much affecting how much the revenue comes in. Could you imagine if you worked for me and I paid you $8 an hour, but then I brag to everybody, this is my best worker. Oh, he's such a great worker. He really should be paid more, but I'm the one paying you. And I'm the one that's not giving you no money.
Facts.
So that's my problem, is that when I hear this, when I hear people talk, and when I hear people go and argue and they go, oh, they shouldn't be paid more money. It's losing money every year. They lose $10 million every year. Yeah, because they have a terrible TV contract, even though sports that are comparable to them are making more than 10 times as much money. I need an explanation as to why. Trenton, can you talk about MLS?
Yeah.
Something about soccer too.
Yeah, MLS. The MLS it has a $90 million contract. 75 of that is through ESPN and Fox, and 15 is from Univision. Then and the crazy thing is, look at the viewership. Their viewership on the average on the games during the regular season is only 276,000. That's a good bit less than the actual WNBA games. But only time same in the same way though, the final, the MLS Cup has 1.14 million people, but with the WNBA finals, it has 548,000 viewers. But also consider that it's a it's a series with the WNBA, and you never know, it might have some extra people come in and then come out. So it might be a little more than actual 548,000 people watching. But I think that, let's be honest, like that's how many? That's 30,000 people difference on average per game, and they played 2 more games in the WNBA. So I think that's significant. But I think the point that I wanted to make though was, when you really think about it, I think it's about the target audience. And I think that's the racial bias. It's how they view the power, the spending power. There's more white males that watch MLS. There's more white males that watch the NHL. There's more white males that watch these things. So so they get no more money. The contracts, the TV people are willing to spend more money advertising and on these networks during those events. So that's why the people are willing to spend more money in the TV contracts with those leagues. So
I really believe that I'm gonna say I'm gonna let Roddy like he ready to jump in and preach. I'm telling you, I can see it right now in him. But I'm just letting you know that I really do believe it's important that we really take off our biases and really treat the WNBA and these athletes just like the world-class athletes that they are. We have one of the best WNBA players in the world that's basically being jailed right now in Russia because she had to go to Russia to play because of how much the WNBA players are paid. WNBA players are paid, I saw on average in 2017, it was like $71,000 a year. $71,000 a year. Imagine training to be a world-class athlete, but making $71,000 a year when the lowest of the low in the NBA is making far more money.
Yeah. Almost $1 million. Mm-hmm. It's really that serious. Like it's almost $1 million.
Hold on real quick, y'all. I'm gonna be right back. Y'all go ahead. Keep on going, Trent.
Yeah, because the top, when you look at it, the top athletes, the top WNBA players are making a little over $200,000. That's the top. But the WNBA, the NBA is making their base level contracts are right at $800,000, $900,000. It's really ridiculous. And it really is it.
And Brittany Griner is, when we looked at the data today, number 2. Well, she's number 4 because she's at the same level as the second high. You pointed out the second highest salary in the WNBA. Is what she earns, and it's like it was 268. Something like that.
Some of them in the European countries get paid 3 to 4 times more. And that's just ridiculous. It's not worth it. So I really do believe that, we need to be putting pressure. Someone needs to ask ESPN. Somebody needs to tag ESPN and ask them, why are they paying the WNBA $25 million and the NHL $400 million? I would love to hear what their response is. Now, no one will ever ask it on their TV show, but someone should really ask them, why are you paying the NHL 10 times more money when they get similar ratings? I would love to know what their answer is while they're in here saying that we're on the cost because we're bringing people on to say that. So
why do you pay the MLS 3 times more? And their ratings aren't nearly as good for most of the year.
Their average ratings are lower than the WNBA, but you're paying them 3 times more. Could someone please explain that to me and let them squirm? But I believe you're right. I really believe it's not just about how many people are watching, but what audiences are watching. And if there's a bias that is in how these companies are looking at different advertisers and they're looking at certain demographics and wanting to appeal to them more, I think it is up to us to put pressure on these companies, on these media people to give the WNBA a better share of the deal. And if the media people don't want to do it, I think the onus should be on the NBA. They're seeking on their next TV contract $8 to $9 billion a year. $8 to $9 billion a year. You tell me you can't share some of that with the WNBA so that players are making more than 70 to 80,000 per year. Like, come on. If you really are about, showing more being equality and fairness and being for advancing the WNBA, share more revenue with them. That'll help grow the sport. If they see that there's a profitable lifestyle that can come with being an elite WNBA player, you'll get more people wanting to be elite WNBA players. But if you're just going to shortchange them, that's going to continue to be a problem.
Another important fact, I was looking when I looked at the history of the WNBA. It actually was another league before the WNBA. It was the women's basketball league, the BLA. So the question is, what was the issue? Why did they fail? One of the major things was lack of advertising. And when I tell y'all remember, I still remember either a year ago or 2 years ago, it was the one of the sports broadcasters. He got in trouble because people was kind of mad at him because he came out and said, well, there was nothing in sports yet last night. It was boring. And turns out it was the WNBA draft that night prior. But the thing is, be mad at him, but nobody knew. There was no advertisement. There was nothing shown that during a time where enough people would know that it was on. And I think that's a very important issue. But at the same time, if you ain't got the money, how can you pay for advertisement time? So I see how it's catch-22. It's really it's full circle. The issue is full circle because of the lack of money. You can't advertise, you can't pay, and so it makes sense. And I mean, but I think there's something that can be done for it. I agree with you.
I said if they're not willing to invest in the WNBA, they won't really invest in marketing them. And that's where I want to go to. Rodney, I want to give you the last word on this, man, because I know this was near and dear to your heart, and I really appreciate everything you really added to this discussion.
Appreciate you, bro.
Hey, once again, I appreciate the opportunity. Appreciate you guys, sharing the topic with me. And I think it's great that we're having this discussion as men, right? And, you're just letting it be known. Right is right. Right. Right is right. It don't matter male or female. Right is right. And it's always good to have that open discussion, that open topic, and to really get to the meat, of issues, and not just jump to conclusions. Right. And I really like, the points of views that both of you shared. It, even added to my understanding of the topic. In particular, Omar, you're really advocating, and that's good. It takes those bold measures, right? It's just like, another thing, I'm glad you brought that up. You mentioned that, but we as individuals, male or female, right? If we see an opportunity where women or any other group was, treated unfairly historically, right? Not given the same opportunities as other individuals, let us look at the matter and come up with solutions, right? Let's think outside of the box. I gave solutions of going to the game, buying a jersey, right? Watching the game. Omar Boulder, a lot more for us. Hey, but it takes that, right? It takes someone to say, let's do that. It needs to be done. It's possible, right? It's not impossible, right? For the NBA to lean in. And that's what I've, recent years I've seen a lot of promotion, in particular by the NBA, of leaning in, right? So you really want to lean in a major way and see, people, women that play a game passionately, right? Situation improve, right? And if women in the WNBA win, right? If they win, if they improve, women all over the world improve. Right. It's a trickle down effect, right? Because it becomes a case study, it becomes an example of where an area where, there may have been a lot of brain fog and not an open-mindedness, but we, individuals made a decision to look at it, make decisions to move it forward, to advance, the situation, just thinking outside of the box, having an open mind, being willing to, look at it in multiple ways. But yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Rodney, man. I hope you guys enjoyed this conversation, man. To me, this was worth it. I mean, I know we spent a lot of time on this, but this topic was worth it. And I'm glad we really did. Rodney, thank you so much for being our very first guest, man. And whenever you want to be a part, man, you just let us know. We'll bring you on again, man.
I already have some ideas, so I'm going to be getting up with you guys. You may not be on camera. When when you said I look like I'm about to preach, I have some ideas. I'm a data analyst. So, hey, check your inbox.
Most definitely, man. Most definitely. I appreciate you. Appreciate y'all. Thank you so much. And like I said, we continue going on the OT show one more time. I'm so thankful for each and every one of you being here along with us. I know this was a long topic we had, but this was a great topic, and I thank God for
that was good. I enjoyed it.
I'm telling you, we can take the opportunity to really get into something that important. I feel like that was something we really wanted to get to. And now we're going to go from one important topic to the next. Let's talk about Russell Westbrook. I said, let's talk about Russell Westbrook. All right. As you all know, we had a situation that went down. It was a couple nights ago after the game. Russell Westbrook talked about how he felt like he was getting very much attacked. so much that he didn't feel comfortable with his family going to the games. His wife talked about how they were getting death threats on social media. But then he shared a story about how he had his son and how his son was in school and how proud his son was of the name Westbrook. And Westbrook basically said that for those people who were calling him Westbrick, Skip Bayless was calling him Westbrick, that it was a problem for him and that he saw it as name shaming and that he was going to call it out. So we wanted to really talk with this important subject because we've talked about fans booing people, fans talking about people. We want to talk a little bit about Russell Westbrook and whether or not this Westbrick nickname that's been giving him, if it's something that's fair or foul. So I'm going to go ahead and start with Trenton. How do you feel and what side do you lean on the Westbrick debate? Is it name shaming for us to call Russell Westbrook?
You can call it name shaming. But I'm gonna be honest. I just think there's a level of competition and just a level of scrutiny, a level of it just happens in sports with people. And I think there is a line that it should be established and that should exist. And I don't believe that Westbrick is crossing that line. I just don't believe that. To me, that's not a line that would that I even looked at myself. Like if my last name is McDougal. If I was in sports and they was getting tired of me, if I'm throwing up bricks and shots, they'd be calling me McDoodoo. You know what I mean? You play like McDoodoo. Like it would be like, and I mean I think it's a level of scrutiny that you're going to have to be open to just in being in the public eye. You're making millions of dollars for a $1 billion industry, and people are paying thousands of dollars to see you play. It's just gonna happen. But I think certain things though, it's like it's basketball though. It's basketball related. It's not like I think about years ago with my boy said Skip said Bosch Spice. Now that's not basketball. That's too much. That's going a different level. That's calling a person feminine because of the Spice Girls. You get what I'm saying? The reference of the Spice Girls. Now that's a different topic. But if basketball related, as long as he's on the court, I mean, I'm okay with it. Now don't be behind me in the grocery store calling me Westbrick. I'm not playing basketball. And I would get that. That would be annoying. Don't follow me around no grocery store calling me Westbrick. But I'm on the court. I mean, sure. I mean, that's gonna happen. You have to take the good and the bad. When they shot MVP, when you're on top of the mountain, I get it. But you take that. That's okay. That's not your name. But Westbrick, it is what it is. I really feel like he's deflecting, to be honest. I just feel like he, that's what I look at it as. I think it was kind of weak.
I let me tell you this. I want to make sure that I'm really clear on this. And of course, I feel like we should have a smarter audience, that we shouldn't need to make this disclaimer. But just in case, if you don't know who we are, we're obviously not against death threats. Just disclaimer, we're against death threats. We're against we're against, all this other, really harassing family members, racial slurs, slurs of that nature. We know we're not for that. So I want to talk about this Westbrick name. Like I said, to me, there was 3 that I looked at. It was Westbrick, it was LeBum. When they talk about LeBron James, I heard people say LeBum, and then Bosch Spice. I felt Bosch Spice. I'm with you, Trenton. That was out of line. If you're gonna, when you're attacking someone's manhood, something of that station, so that nature, I think that is a little much. He said the take was McDookie. I got something to say about it. Great. Ryan, you got to do better than that, man. I'm just playing. But, so, and then even when I said LeBum, I kind of was like, man, that's really borderline. But at the same time, you got to understand, when they're saying that, they're talking about his play. They're obviously not talking about him as a person. And, I feel like sports encourages people to be as passionate and as fanatical as possible. And you're going to get those type of rapid reactions. Again, I just feel like Westbrick, to me, because he's shooting bricks. If y'all don't know, he is the worst 3-point shooter in the NBA, even though he's making $44 million and he's the fourth highest paid player in the NBA. He was brought into the Lakers to make them the number one favorite for the championship. And right now they're so bad, we don't even know if they're going to make the playoffs. So they've been a total disappointment on a team that expected a championship. And so you're going to get a lot of name calling, but we're not for the, I saw one time at a high school where somebody was shooting free throws. This black person was shooting free throws against a team that was all white. And what people in the crowd were making monkey references, and they were making monkey sounds. Like, that's out of line. You know, we can tell what stuff is out of line, but to me, the Westbrick, just him shooting bricks, to me, that's not out of line. Because number one, this whole discussion came up not because somebody in the store was following them yelling Westbrook. It came up because his wife was confronting Skip Bayless, who all he does is sit on his set and calls Russell Westbrook the things he calls him. So this wasn't somebody that was attacking him at the store or something like that, where it was real harassment. And he was never going at his family. He was always going at Westbrook's shot selection and his how he handles the ball and how he handles on offense. And to me, that's fair game. I will also say this, because when we were in the midst of this debate, and I was talking with my friends, and they were real passionate about it. And I appreciate you if you feel like this is out of bounds. I'm with Trenton. I feel like this is a deflection. And I'm going to tell you why I feel like this is a deflection. I want you guys to know the Holy Ghost will bring things back to your remembrance.
Oh, Lord, these brothers preaching.
He will bring things back to your remembrance. I want to let you guys know this. We're in March 2022. Do you guys remember what happened this time last year? This time last year, Russell Westbrook had a game where he had a triple-double with 35 points and 20 assists. And the next day on First Take, Stephen A. Smith made this quote. He said, Westbrook's numbers last night mean absolutely nothing to me, because even though that's great numbers, that's what Westbrook can do. We all know this. He's a former league MVP. He's the most athletic point guard we have ever seen in NBA history. Have you guys seen Westbrook yet? I haven't seen Westbrook at all. I just want to make sure. Was Westbrook in that paragraph? No? Okay. I'm going to keep going. It says, but Bradley Beal and you are in the backcourt together, and y'all are 17 and 28 in the Eastern Conference. You've played with some great players over the years, some talent, and not a single title to show for it. Let me ask you, was Westbrook in there?
No.
I didn't see Westbrook in there at all. The numbers are the numbers. That's Russell Westbrook. He can do that to anybody. But I'm at a point in time in his career where it ain't about no more, or it ain't about that no more. It's about whether or not you can get to another level to win the chip. Russell Westbrook lashed out about these comments. His wife lashed out about these comments this time last year. I don't see Westbrook in there at all. So if anything, if it's just about protecting his name, why was he mad about that? This is as fair as a criticism as you can get. He complimented him about all of his skills and all of his talent, and yet he still lashed out about that. You know why? Because the team was terrible. Because they had expectations when they got them, and they failed expectations, and he was getting criticism over it. And they lashed out about these comments. So if they lashed out about this, how do I know the Westbrook isn't just the same playbook? So I'm sorry if I look at this and I think this is simply another example of an athlete that's feeling a lot of pressure, that's taking a lot of criticism, and now is trying to garner sympathy. Now, we're not for death threats at all. We're not for harassment at all. We're not for slurs at all. We're not for any sort of criticism that gets too personal. But something that's strictly about what you do on the court is fair. And I don't think he'd be complaining about Westbrick if they were 52-9 in first place in the West. I don't think he'd be complaining about it. He's complaining about it because they've been terrible. All the pressure's on him. He's the one that's being blamed for how the Lakers have done, and he's feeling the pressure. And athletes these days are really struggling with that. Who were we just talking about a couple of months ago who was lashing out about all the pressure they were getting? Kwame Brown. Kwame Brown was doing his Instagram videos inside of his creepy truck, and he was talking about how Stephen A. Smith was calling him a bona fide scrub and how it made him feel. And now he's lashing out. We have to remember these athletes are human, and they don't like the criticism that they get. And so that's what I see this as. I see this as someone who is struggling to deal with the criticism, and now they're really trying to protect themselves. What you guys say about that, Trent?
Yeah, I agree with you 1,000%. I just think that I even looking at the video out, and I saw some of the stats, some of the responses and comments from people. They was like, man, they was watching him talk like he was talking, Westbrook talk like he was talking, they was being upset and commenting about this whole Westbrick thing. It's like, yo, man, something's wrong with Westbrook. Like, something's wrong with him. Like, and I get it, and I feel that. Like, yo, this is because this shouldn't even be an issue. It shouldn't even be an issue. Like, why are you even talking about this? Play better. This should be something that you take. You go in and you go to the gym and you shoot them 1,000 shots, and you come back and you say, West, you put up 50, you drop 50 on them, and then say yell Westbrick as you go to the tunnel after a victory. That's what you do. You don't go. You gonna go to the media and talk about your son being proud of his name and stuff. Like, come on, bro. Like, what are you doing, bro? Come on, man. Let
me say this. Because Reverend Terrence on said something. I think he's gonna have to be a guest on the show one of these days. He brought up something. He said the fans expect championships every year. Do you remember just a couple of days ago when the reporter asked Westbrook, was this what he expected? And what did Russell Westbrook say? I had no expectations this year. You're going to the Los Angeles Lakers to play with LeBron James and Anthony Davis, and you walk in there and say, I had no expectations. To me, that explains your entire career. If you sit here saying you play with no expectations, and maybe you did not expect that you would get this type of heat for playing poorly. But come on, man, we knew this man had expectations. This is the 4th highest paid player in the NBA. And when you're in a public spot and you don't perform, you're going to get the heat.
If it didn't cost $2,000, I'd post Kobe's gif about him saying soft.
Mm-hmm.
Soft.
And that's another thing. I just think athletes are struggling, and I don't want to talk about all athletes and put all of them in the same circle. You brought up Ben Simmons, Brian. I think it's really interesting. There's so much with social media. There's so much awareness now of your feelings and things of that nature and how things can hurt you. I think it's so difficult. I'm not trying to say it's easy. I don't want to make it sound like, oh, he's just easily ignored. It's difficult. When someone, I know I'm not the only one. When someone makes a comment, a post about something, we could be talking about something, whether it's scripture, whether it's sports, whether it's politics, and I vehemently disagree. It takes the Holy Ghost to hold me back from typing up something I shouldn't be typing. So I know if I'm in a position and I type my name on Twitter and everybody's talking about me, that would be difficult. Mm-hmm. So I feel for these players. It is difficult. And I want to make it sound like, he's human. And that's a difficult spot to deal with. But when you're in that type of position, you have to learn how to turn off that criticism or fuel it for your advantage. If Russell Westbrook showed the same passion about Westbrick if he showed it when it talked about the Lakers struggling, it didn't just go lollygagging like, oh, it doesn't matter to me. Oh, it doesn't matter if I win a championship because I'm a champion in life. If he showed that type of passion, people would not be that angry. But a lot of times he's just not showing any passion. And what I see is someone who's struggling with the criticism. But like Kobe said, everybody's not meant to be a Laker. That's the bottom line. Everyone's not meant to be a Laker. And so I just think that, it can be difficult when you're dealing with this criticism, when you're dealing with the pressures of, everybody's coming at you. And so it's something serious. We're going to talk about Ben Simmons one of these episodes. I know, Brian, you're bringing up Ben Simmons. It's, it's something serious. He said, what do you mean no expectation? That's what he said. He said, I had no expectation this season. Yeah. You walked in there. They said, didn't you expect to get
LeBron and AD and Carmelo, and he had no expectation?
The commentator asked him and said, is it kind of upsetting that the season's not going how you expect? And Russell was like, well, what did I expect? And the commentator was like, well, didn't you expect some wins? He's like, I had no expectation.
That was so petty. That was like, it was like a petty competition because the reporter was petty, and then and then you just see Westbrook's response is even more petty. Like, what do you mean? What do you mean? You ain't had no expect. You didn't expect anything. Get out of here, man.
It's like if you aim for nothing, you'll surely hit it.
I know LeBron was expecting something because he was talking about how, I know y'all calling us old and we all this, but we gonna show y'all. Yep, you did. You showed us a whole lot.
So I want to make sure it's clear. There is a line.
There is a line. There is most definitely a line.
There's a line.
Westbrick is not.
I don't think that's quite the line. I feel like he should fuel that to play better. And just like Shannon Sharp kept bringing up, that Magic Johnson had a bad finals, and they kept calling him Tragic Johnson for a good while. But you know what Magic did? He fueled that to win MVPs and more championships. And that's how Russell Westbrook really has to do it.
And I remember like Dragic, the guard that just signed with the Nets a couple of like last week. I remember when I played 2K when he was on some team. I can't remember which team it was. That's what I called him, because every time he came in as the backup point guard, tragic stuff happened. And I would call him Tragic. I was like, nah, get Tragic out the game. I don't want him. But yeah, man, come on. You're on that platform. You know what it is, bro. You know what it is. You know what it is. You should, and you got to have that heart, man.
Man, so I think this is good for this topic. We're going to talk more about fan reactions and what is fair and what is foul, because there's been a lot of discussion about that. But we definitely got to get into the other Russell Wilson, who was traded today from Seattle to the Denver Broncos. And now you've got an NFC West that has Patrick Mahomes, Russell Wilson, Justin Herbert, and our brother in Christ, Derek Carr. Thoughts and prayers for all Raiders fans right now. My brother Terrence, Deacon Whitman, we love you. But it's going to be rough this year with those quarterbacks. So I really want to know, Trenton, who would you describe as your favorite in the NFC West? Are the Broncos now the favorites in the NFC West, Trenton? AFC West, I'm sorry. Is the Broncos the favorite?
I personally, I like them. Now, if we put up the some of the stats from them, this is this past season, y'all. You see Patrick Mahomes, the Chiefs quarterback, Justin Herbert, the Chargers, Russell Wilson, now the Broncos, and Derek Carr, the Raiders. Now look at this. This is what their ratings were this past season. The Chiefs had the third best offense in the league and the 27th ranked defense. The Chargers, with a second year QB now with Justin Herbert, had a fourth ranked offense and the 23rd worst defense. And they was really one game out of the playoffs. The Raiders, Terrence's Raiders, knocked them out of contention for the playoffs. But with Derek Carr,
Can I correct you real quick? The Raiders didn't knock out the Chargers from the playoffs. You know who knocked out the Chargers from the playoffs? When they lost to Houston. You don't deserve to go to the playoffs. You're going to lose to Houston. I'm sorry. You do not deserve to make the playoffs at that moment. You lose to Houston.
I feel the same way about my Vikings. Because when we lost to the Lions. That's when we got knocked out of the playoffs. When we lost, we lit it, Omar. We needed one game. Just one. We went, if we finished the season 9-8 instead of 8-9, with everything else remaining the same, with everybody else, we're in the playoffs. We had a tiebreaker with everybody. We're in. But because we lost to a team that at the time had not won a game more beyond halfway through the season, we ended up falling short. And it's sad. You done got me riled up now. Let me get back to talking.
I'm sorry. I didn't bring them up. I was just talking about the Charger, but go on, keep going.
Yeah, man, but it's the same thing. But look at the Broncos. Now, look, I'll be honest with y'all. I love my boy Teddy. I watched him a little bit. I mean, he did all right. He had some, but Teddy's a game manager, right? And look, they were the 19th best offense. I'm gonna be honest with you. I didn't expect that to be truthfully. But this past season, the Broncos had the 19th ranked offense, but the 8th ranked defense. And I'm telling you, I just expect Russ to elevate Javonte Williams, Cortland Sutton, and Tim Patrick. Who are those people? Javonte Williams from the Tar Heels, the running back, the big thumper. Can
I ask you a quick question? Who was the quarterback for the Broncos last year?
Teddy.
It was Teddy?
Yeah, it was mostly Teddy. You remember he had some injury days where they had Locke out there because when he was hurt. or unconscious. So,
Oh,
Lord, that's not
yeah.
but it's true. But it's true. That's my boy though. Everybody know me. They don't know I love Teddy. I'm sorry, but yeah, man. But when Teddy was available, he played, and he did all right. He didn't do bad, but he's not. He's more of a game. He really is more of a game manager. He's not a guy like Russ who's gonna push the ball. Like with all four of these quarterbacks are actually gonna push the ball down the field. He gonna push the ball downfield. I even look at what Derek Carr was able to do with what he had after losing his one deep threat in Henry Ruggs with the stupid accident that he had and losing it. He had who was his receivers?
He had Darren Waller, who's great.
Okay,
he had,
yeah. And guess what? Tight end, that's his best receiver. His tight end was his best receiver. The Hunter Renfro.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. From Clemson, won the national championship. Yeah.
And then he had a ECU boy. I believe it was ECU boy. What's his name? His name leaves me right at the moment. Go ahead, Terrence. Go ahead and comment. Who's the other receiver? The dude that caught the touchdown. Jones. Zay Jones. Was it Zay Jones? I believe Zay Jones was on the squad.
You're saying Waller was hurt. See, that's something else to think about. Yeah, Zay Jones. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Zay Jones.
Yeah, Zay Jones, man. And so it's so these are quarterbacks that can push the ball downfield. Now listen to this. With the threat of Russ, Javonte Davis under this year had 903 yards, averaged 4.4 carry, had 4 touchdowns. Cortland Sutton had 58 catches, 776 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Patrick had 735 yards on 53 catches and 5 touchdowns. These boys under Russ are going to ball out. I really do believe with Russ, these boys are going to ball out. They're going to put up numbers that are going to at least be 50%, at the least, going to be 50%. Am I saying 50? Yeah, 50% more than this. I'm calling it now. It's going to be 50% more than what they have now. And I just think that it's going to, with that, as long as that defense is still there, they still got a top 10 defense. There's no reason why they shouldn't. Win the AFC West. But, and I say this is how I feel now, but I still don't think you can automatically just say that because you got that man. You got that man in that, look, 3 straight AFC championships. I just can't just bet against Patrick Mahomes. For what he did even this season, having being the 3rd ranked offense, but having a terrible defense, who did play well in spots. It's just, I don't know, but I just wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised at all if the Broncos, and I think arguably you could say it,
I'm gonna tell you this. I'm still gonna call the Chiefs the favorite because of Andy Reid. The Broncos have a new head coach, so we don't know what type of culture he's gonna instill, what type of offense he's gonna run. Are they still gonna play the same type of defense? So there's a lot to like piece-wise about the Broncos, but when they're establishing a whole new coach and whole new system, a whole new quarterback, we don't really know how they're going to look or how long it's going to take for them to really start gelling. So do they have the pieces to win the division? Absolutely. I still like Mahomes. I still like the Chiefs because I like Andy Reid. I still feel like he's a top 2 or 3 coach in all of football. So I feel like he has to be respected and he'll come up with some way. But I will tell you this, the Raiders aren't going to go anywhere. Derek Carr played very well last year. Just like he said, his defense was ranked 11th. So they made a big jump. So because they were terrible the year before, and then the defense made a big jump. So I think they got rid of John Gruden. I think they're really going to install a good system up there with Josh McDaniels, even though I could have a whole nother discussion about why is Josh McDaniels the head coach. That's a whole nother discussion. We can leave that alone. But I'm just telling you, I like the Chiefs because I still trust them. But let's see what happens. Let's see who's added. Let's see how they draft. My mind could change. And, as far as the Chargers are concerned, there's no reason why they shouldn't win the AFC West. They have the offense. They have players. They got Joey Bosa. They got Kenneth Murray. They have Derwin James. They got players, but can they ever really put it together? I'm not really sure. So As of right now, the favorite should be the Chiefs, but this division will be very tough, very competitive.
Sorry, Terrence. I'm sorry.
I don't think the Raiders are going to finish last. That's what I'm going to say. I don't think they'll finish last.
I don't think so either. But even if I don't even know if saying finish last, if they do finish last, I'm not even saying that that's a like if that don't even mean that they're bad. They could end up being still a good team and finish last in this division, depending on how things play out.
Yeah. So, who knows? Amari Cooper can be a free agent. Maybe you might, go out there get him. We'll see.
Amari be hurt.
I'm just saying. So a lot of discussion about the AFC West. And like I said, there's a long way to go before the season starts. It's going to get really interesting. We're going to see. I do want to do a quick shout out. Y'all may not even know what I'm talking about. Thank you so much, Cedric, for letting me know. Tonight was a historic night. Y'all know I like to watch wrestling. We had our first black male singles champion in AEW. Shout out to Scorpio Sky winning the TNT title. I just want to throw that out there because my brother let me know about that. Got a shout out when my brothers get championship gold around their waist, and hopefully he doesn't hold it for just a week. I'm hoping he has a long championship reign. But let's get into some of our fair fouls because I know we're getting around time at 10 o'clock. I want to go ahead and start out with Kyler Murray, who recently came out with his demands of wanting to get a new contract. And so I want to know, fair or foul, should Kyler Murray get a new contract? Fair or foul, Trent?
I'm gonna leave you with this one, man. You go ahead and do this one.
Now, because you don't want to give no OU slander, right?
Yeah, I don't want you to attack me. So
okay.
Let me know.
First off, everybody knows there is no OU slander on this chat. It is not allowed. Not allowed. So, Kyler Murray, I'm gonna say this. I am a man of print, but I'm a man of principle. He should not get a new contract. Not yet. I am a man of principle. I gotta stick by my word. I love me some. But I'm Boomer Sooner all the way. I'm not gonna insult Kyler at all.
Okay.
But I gotta tell like it is. He should not get a new contract right now. And it's because of my philosophy.
Okay.
I don't believe in giving top 5 contracts to players who are not firmly top 10 in their position. And maybe this is a debate for you, but Kyler Murray, in my eyes, is not a firmly entrenched top 10 quarterback. And if you're not a firmly entrenched top 10 quarterback, you should not be getting a top 3 or 4 contract. Am I really going to pay Kyler Murray, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes type money, which is what it's going to take for a player that is not at Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes level? No, I can't do that. So let's go through the numbers. I know Brian think I'm on something. Let's talk, Brian. Let's talk about Kyler Murray. So let's talk about with the rankings real quick. Okay. So not better than Mahomes, not better than Rodgers. He's not better than Allen. He's not better than Wilson.
No.
That's top 4. He's not better than if I put it like this, he's not better than Herbert. No. Not right now.
Not right now.
He's not better than Herbert.
No.
Joe Burrow has a bad offensive line too. They win the Super Bowl. So I can't put him ahead of Burrow.
No.
Not putting him ahead of am I really going to put him ahead of like a Matthew Stafford that just won a Super Bowl? Am I going to put him ahead of a Dak Prescott? I'm sorry. And as of right now, I know we'll figure out what happens with Deshaun Watson. I'm going to let you know if he gets up there and pleads the 5th, I'm out. Because while I'm not a lawyer, Cedric's a lawyer, I'm not. My brother is. If you plead the 5th, you did something wrong. So if he pleads the 5th, I'm out. But I want to show you guys something. I want to show you guys something real quick. So this is Kyler Murray's stats over the last 3 seasons. His stats are pretty good. 66.9% completions, 11,000 yards, 70 touchdowns, 34 interceptions, 20 rushing touchdowns. All really good. Really good. No part of me is going to say Kyler Murray's not good. Who's the quarterback on the other side? Y'all put in the chat who's the quarterback on the other side.
Who is that?
Who is that quarterback? I want to know who that quarterback is. Anyone got a guess? Anyone got a guess in the chat of who that quarterback is?
And this is the last 3 years.
Last 3 years. Who's the quarterback? 67% completion, 10,000 yards, 76 touchdowns, 27 interceptions, 721 yards rushing, and 18 touchdowns. Those numbers are pretty comparable. No, Ryan, it's not Baker.
That's 18 rushing touchdowns.
Nah, there'd be about 45 interceptions if it was Baker. But no OU slander. No OU slander. Yeah, it's true though. It's Ryan Tannehill. His numbers are not that different than Ryan Tannehill's over the last 3 seasons. Ryan Tannehill. So Ryan Tannehill's not. Are you paying Patrick Mahomes money to Ryan Tannehill? No. So why am I going to pay it to a dude whose numbers are similar? Oh, let's keep it going. I got another one. Okay, look at this guy right here. 67.6 completions, 12,000 yards passing, 94 touchdowns, 26 interceptions. Not much rushing. A little bit rushing, but not much. Whose numbers are that?
Who's that?
Who's that? I want to hear who that is. I'll tell you who is that. Give me a guess. Oh, Trent, don't give it away, Trent. Don't give it away.
I'm sorry.
That's Kirk Cousins. That is Kirk Cousins. Better completion percentage, more touchdown passes, less interceptions.
Of course,
no one's going to call Kirk Cousins.
Oh, he's
top 10
only
quarterback.
running if it's for his life. And I'm talking about holiness. I ain't even talking about on the football field.
I was going to say something else, but I ain't going to say it about Kirk Cousins. But I'm telling you, his numbers again aren't that much better than Kirk Cousins' numbers. Am I going to pay Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes money for someone whose production is similar to Kirk Cousins? Someone who, okay, yeah, he made the playoffs. I got to give it to him, make the playoffs, but didn't look good at it.
Nope.
You know, yeah, there's issues around them, and I agree. They need to invest more in their offensive line.
Gotta be fair. He did have issues. The whole thing with Deshaun Watson, it really meant oh Lord. DeAndre Hopkins, my fault. I'm messing up names, but yeah, with his number one receiver getting hurt,
yeah, that hurt them.
That hurt, and then he missed 3 games himself this past season, so that was relevant as well. But still, it's just it was just bad.
I firmly believe that he needs to prove himself one more year, and he needs to really step up this year if he wants to get Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes money. Because keep in mind, you're not signing him for a Ryan Tannehill contract. If you could, oh yeah, I'd sign him for $30 million. Absolutely, I would sign him for $30 million like Ryan Tannehill's making. If you're going to pay Kyler Murray, you're going to pay him north of Josh Allen, and I can't do that. He's not at Josh Allen's level. He has not proven to be in Josh Allen's level yet. He's still one step under it, and right now he is really clutched together with a lot of good but not great quarterbacks. His numbers are comparable to them. He's young. He can play better. I'm rooting for him to play better. I believe he can. But, yeah, better hope Aaron. Yeah, I like what you said, Ryan, right there. Better hope Aaron Donald don't come back because that'll probably be in his nightmares. But at the end of the day, he's got to prove more, in my eyes, to be deserving of a top 5 quarterback of that ranking. And I'm not just saying that because of Kyler Murray. I felt this way since Joe Flacco, that you don't pay top 5 money to people who are not anywhere near the top 5. And I've been saying that since Joe Flacco got a big contract after he won the Super Bowl. So I got to stay consistent. Got to be consistent. They won't do it. I think the Cardinals will pay him. I think they will pay him, but I wouldn't. If it was me, I would not do it. You got anything to add, Trenton?
Well, you'd lose him?
It's not that I would lose him. I still got him 2 more years. He's got this year. He's got the next year. I could always franchise tag him. I would wait until I'm absolutely confident.
But what if he shuts down?
What, he can shut down what? If he doesn't want to play?
What if he decide to force his way out?
If he forces his way out, he forces his way out.
Yeah.
But what I'm not going to do is throw a huge contract at somebody and hog tie my organization. And if he's thinking about, if he's thinking about leaving, is that someone you want to commit $200 million to?
Facts.
To someone who's not committed? I feel this way. If they could leave, clap when they go. That's just the way I feel. TD Jake said that. So yeah, I wouldn't do it. Not yet. He needs one more really good year, and then I gladly pay him. But I got to be consistent. As much as I love him as OU man, I gotta stay consistent, man. Anything to add, Trenton?
I'm good. That's good
Okay.
stuff.
All right. Fair or foul? We know Coach K. We called it on this show. Want to call out that UNC would beat Duke, but we want to talk about Coach K. Fair or foul? Coach
I'm not
K
even. Don't say we. You. I ain't gonna take no credit for that. You called it because I was looking at you like you was talking like Job's wife. I didn't know what was going on. I was just like, hey,
hey, it
okay,
worked.
Whatever.
It worked out though, but
impossible. That's why I didn't say anything. I didn't say anything. We was at the end of the show, and it wasn't impossible. I get it. Stranger things have happened, but I was not expecting it at all. I'm just being honest with you.
All right, fair or foul, Coach K is the most influential coach ever. Fair or foul, Trenton?
I respect Coach K to the utmost. I dislike Duke. I've always disliked Duke. I don't hate Duke like I used to hate Duke. I think me going to ECU and the football rivalry with Carolina and just wanting to be a football program and do well. There was times while I was there that we was ranked. I think by going to ECU and graduating and the pride in my school, even though we stink at basketball, it just made me like kind of come off the Chapel Hill wagon somewhat. Though I have one foot in and I'm pedaling with the other hand, but other foot, but I'm not really big on it no more. But I will say this. Like I said, I respect Coach K, but when I hear most influential, I'm not thinking as in good, the best coach, or even the most, elegant or whatever you want to say. When I think of influential, I'm thinking, what did he do that caused change? What did he do that maybe changed the scope of the game? And I equate it to this. Is LeBron the most influential basketball player of his era? And I don't think he is. When we're talking about basketball, he's not. I look at Curry, because Curry actually changed the game, how the game was played, right? So when I think about most influential coach, I kind of think about John Calipari. And I know, let me explain. Let me explain for you. Jump on me. When he was snatching up the one and doners, I still remember when Coach K didn't like it and he wasn't gonna do it. And it's rumored that there were some people that had to talk him into, hey, you got to get with it and get with these highly talented kids, even though you know that they're gonna be one and done. And that really for a span of years changed the scope of how things was going. I mean, it would, and if that never happened, and there was no, if he would have never, if Coach K wouldn't even have changed, even Coach K had to adapt to it. Even he had to go after the Kyrie Irvings and the what's my man before during
Zion Williamson.
Who?
Zion Williamson,
but the one before that, the tall boy, the one that with kind of a bust. He got drafted like number 2 overall. He was with the he went to the Lakers, I believe. What's that big kid's name? I can't think of his name, but it just wasn't in his mentality. But that guy, John actually changed how how teams recruited, how they brought in kids to play, the type of kids they brought in, and that's how that's what I think about when I think of influential as a coach. But he might be the face of it. Now, if they would have asked me that, who's the face of college basketball, I get it. That's another one, and that's another one. That's not who I was thinking about. But I'm thinking about, what is that big kid? He was like a center. He was actually a center. And Okafor.
he went to Philly.
Philly.
He went to Philly. Yeah.
Yeah.
A little Okafor. Yeah.
Man, but he was and he was horrible. But he was injured. I think he had injury issues as well. But yeah, I think that's what I think about when I think about influential, somebody who actually changed how things were done. And I don't see him that way.
That's fair. See, I'm going to say fair because if you're going to go off that definition, you're absolutely right. I'm going to go fair because I think there are coaches that are better than Coach K playing currently. There's coaches that are better all time in college basketball. If you look at John Wooden and his 11 championships. But I also do believe that in the era of sports that we live in right now, where there's so much sports coverage, there's so much more nationalized. It's not regional. It's so much more global. I believe there's no coach that is more synonymous with their sport than Coach K is with college basketball. When we think of Nick Saban, we know Nick Saban is maybe the greatest college football coach of all time. But the first thing we don't think about when we think of college football, the first thing we don't think about is Saban. We think about different college football players. You think about the NBA, we think about the players. We don't think about Phil Jackson. You talk about NFL, we think about Brady. We don't think about Belichick like that. Lombardi does come to mind, but I don't think there's ever a coach that is more synonymous with their sport. You think college basketball, the first thing that comes to your mind is Coach K. And, the aura that has been around Duke and, the national televised games. And I think the one thing that does help Duke, that does help Coach K, is that his biggest rivalries and his biggest moments were against top 15 coaches. Dean Smith is a top 15 all-time coach. Roy Williams is a top 15 all-time coach. They might be top 10 if we do a list. And Coach K, the majority of his career, his biggest games were against all-time coaches. And so you get those moments, and those moments make college basketball. So I do think him having that big rivalry with Dean Smith going back and forth, and you see Duke and Carolina, and you hear Dick Vitale, it's awesome, baby.
You know what? I actually would even dare say that even me, like I'm not that old, but I actually, when I think of basketball, I actually think of Dick Vitale before I think of Coach K. I think of Dippy Doo Kangaroo.
You think about Coach K, you think about
baby. I think of that even before I think of Coach K. So that's why I just.
Dick Vitale and Coach K are like at the hip. They really are at the hip because you think of Coach K and he's yelling something about the Dukies. Oh, the Dukies are awesome, baby. Oh, my
crazy. I love it.
I can't believe I get paid to do this. That's Dick Vitale, man. I'm trying to tell you. So,
bro. That's my boy.
All of that is just wrapped together, and the media conglomerate. And really, it's a shame that really in all this time, no coach has really taken the mantle. We thought John Calipari was going to take that mantle from Coach K and be the guy. He really hasn't. Kentucky, ever since the NBA started getting the one and doners and paying them, and less of them become a thing in college basketball, Kentucky kind of fell off. They're having a good year this year, but you haven't really heard much about John Calipari.
Because in order to do it that way, you have to absolutely hit every time because you're always re-ing up. You know what I mean? And if you miss, if you turn around and you miss, and the best guys don't sign with you.
And now they're signing with other people. So I just don't see with him leaving, who's the face of college basketball. It's like they lose their face. So that's what I'm saying. I think I don't think there's ever been a coach so synonymous. I'm almost not going to recognize college basketball where there's no Coach K. Because there's no Roy Williams either. Jim Boeheim's, he's about to be out the door too with Syracuse. Who's the next cream of coaches that's really going to control the sport? We think about Mark Few, but all we think about is Gonzaga getting close but never winning the championship. So maybe if Gonzaga finally wins it, but
won't win this year either.
No, they probably won't. So that's what I'm saying. So that's where I look at. That's why I say fair, because of he was the face of college basketball and really has been for a good minute. And so that's why I go with Coach K being the most influential. But it's up to y'all. Next question. We've got two more before we head on out. Next, we're going to talk about something really kind of silly. I don't know if y'all went kind of crazy. It was a couple of days ago when they were running the combine, and you hear about this player running a 4.2 140. We're like, oh my! Everybody melts down like the fastest time ever. And then we found out he ran a 4.28. I'm sorry, y'all. It's 2022. It is the year 2022. Why do we still have unofficial 40 times?
Yeah, it's dumb. It's really dumb. We have that technology that can that senses the movement. Boom! It is accurate. Laser. Boom.
Why? But we're gonna release an unofficial 40
got somebody over there with a clock in their hand.
Like, well, come on, dude. Like, this is not 1970. Come on, let's get over it.
It doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
Whose ego are you trying to
NFL,
appease?
Stop it.
You gonna shut down Twitter telling people that, oh my gosh, somebody ran a 4.2 Come on, man. Then it wasn't even that. No,
my bad.
End it.
My bad. My hand went back went faster. I'm sorry. My bad, y'all.
I'm done with it. Get rid of the unofficial times. They're awful. They're off. We were about to create this guy in Madden and find a way to give him 100 speed and everything. And no.
I mean, because literally you can have it. There's the technology where they can literally have it right there, big score on the scoreboard as people go. So it really makes no sense. The official time went from the laser. Like, so it's silly.
And how bad is this? Imagine you run that type of time. You're thinking you're so good, you're done. And you think you don't have to run another time. And then you find out the time was slower and it wasn't what you wanted. And it's like, because you're being fooled by a crazy unofficial 40 time when it's not necessary. Yeah. Get rid of it. Last thing we want to talk about. My man, my brother.
Fired on his day off.
Calvin Ridley.
He got someone. How you get fired on your day off?
Who bets $1,500 to lose $11 million? I just don't get it, bro. I don't get it. Fair or foul, Calvin Ridley deserved his 1-year suspension.
I don't think he did. I think he deserved to be suspended. I think it was it was a suspendable offense. But to me, a year or even like banishment, that's tampering. I think because the issue is, to me, in betting is the tampering that could be caused. You don't want a guy out there playing, and he's betting on the game while he's playing. And that for obvious reasons is a conflicting of interest.
Yes.
He can't be go out there. Oh, I started. We're up by 10, and this dude is up against me right now, and he has me starting, so I can't score this touchdown. he falls at the one.
Let me find a way to fumble. How to help him get back in the game. We can't have stuff like that.
The mess with the integrity of the game. He's not with the team. He's away from the team
in a different state.
He can't do anything. I mean, so I feel like, okay, it's still because it's a rule. Okay, I understand. 4 games. 4 games, 3 games, 5 games, 4 to 3 games. I'm thinking 3 to 5 games, somewhere in there. But the whole season, that I think that's ridiculous. I kind of felt like that was overkill.
I got one question.
What's up?
Where was all this energy during Spygate? Where was all this energy when the team was videotaping another team's signals? Where was all this energy about the integrity of the game then? Where was all this energy about the integrity of the game when the Patriots were videotaping the Panthers walkthrough during the Super Bowl? Or when they were videotaping the Rams walkthrough through the Super Bowl? Or when the Patriots got caught again videotaping for the Patriots years later? That was recently. That was only a couple years ago. They got caught videotaping the signals against the Bengals again.
Or when Kraft was up in the massage parlor getting his yodel on.
You worried about the integrity of the game? Where's all this energy towards the Miami Dolphins owner trying to pay Brian Flores to $100,000 to lose games? Do we care about the integrity of the game then? Or is Calvin really just an easy target to make it seem like you're harsh on the subject while you're playing hush-hush with the people you really want to care about? I got a problem. With it. This is wild. Calvin really deserves to be suspended. Anything over 6 games is harsh.
Overkill.
Overkill.
I mean, he's not. It's not even tampering because he couldn't tamper. He's not playing. He's not here. It was point. I still don't even understand why. So, bro, why you do it? Like, why? I don't know. But
he at that time he wasn't in his right mind. I don't think. I mean, he was away for a non-football related situation. I don't want to speculate on what it was, but he was just not in the right space. Especially if you're gonna bet on a football game from your own phone that we can easily track to be yours,
Yeah,
you were not in the right
I
mind.
didn't even know that. Like,
He
bro,
bet it off his
really?
own phone. That's how they found out. It's like he doing it off his own phone. Like, come on, man. So that man was not in a good headspace. I don't think he was in a good headspace.
Wow, you a wild boy, Calvin.
Like, you couldn't even try to hide. It's like, bro, these purchases are right on your phone, bro. So I mean, I'm sorry, but I mean, yeah, but I'm sorry. I guess maybe he should have done something less serious. I mean, like, they make it seem like that was like, you got domestic violence people getting less than that. You've got
a whole year, bro. Like,
a whole year. Like, that is just crazy. Bill Belichick did not get suspended for one game, but you suspended Calvin Ridley for a whole year. This is I mean, college basketball. I remember they said they got so mad at Kentucky that they punished Cleveland State. They really didn't want to punish the people they wanted to punish, so they made an example out of somebody else. Calvin Ridley simply trying to send a message about integrity while not showing any of themselves. Roger Goodell, I see you. And I see you. I don't play that. So, yeah, I'm sorry. It was foul. It's just foul. It's got to bring it out before the day is over. Got to bring out the red card. I'm sorry. Anything more than 6 days, red card. You are out of order. So, basically, any other questions or comments before we get to the end of the show? Thank y'all so much. We ran a little bit over today.
Yeah, bro.
Almost an hour and 90-minute show, but we had a lot of topics today.
Discussion today. It was a really good episode today. I enjoyed it. We getting better and better.
We're gonna talk next week because apparently Bounce It to him got a contract with the Washington Commanders. And so I think we're going to have a discussion about people getting chances over and over again that probably should not get chances over and over again, and why we can't quite put our hands on why they keep getting chances. So I think we're going to have some discussions on that, and we're going to have more great topics. But we thank each and every one of you that follow this show. We thank you so much for continuing to be a part of this show, man. And man, if y'all ever get on here and say, man, I want to be a part of the discussion, let us know, man. We'll gladly bring y'all on and debate some subjects with you, man. And so I'm excited that we really want this show to go higher and higher. This is the first show that we were able to simulcast on YouTube as well. So, I mean, if you like it, please comment, please share, please subscribe, please look for us and find us, and let us people know. We want to give y'all the truth. We want to give y'all everything we can. So if even you've got sports topics you want us to talk about, let us know, because we want to definitely do the best by you. And
we've been listening. We got something coming up too. We got some things to discuss.
I really appreciate y'all so much. Thank you all so much for being a part of the OT Sports Show. We appreciate you, man. And until the next time you find us here Wednesdays, 9 o'clock, be there one more time, and we'll see you the next time.